property tax relief in that bill. In fact, today, we have to add another marvel. The bill that the Senate Democrats passed actually raises property taxes for Iowans in specific counties. Not all Iowans, but only Iowans in specific counties. That legislation we expect, we're prepared that the Democrats may bring that up for debate next week. So Republicans will be prepared to offer our amendments to truly discuss property tax relief, whether it is how we deal with the change in valuations, whether how we deal with the increased property taxes to fund our local school districts. Republicans will be prepared to offer amendments and debate those issues. We'll also be prepared to talk about the need to address counties with mental health shortfalls and how Republicans think we should deal with that. But the bill that was passed last week doesn't lower property taxes. It actually increases them on some islands. So we'll be prepared for that debate next week. What I also hope will be discussed next week is how the General Assembly of the state of Iowa will respond to the federal stimulus package. I asked Leader McCarthy about that on the floor yesterday because our governor is today in Washington, D.C. advocating that the federal government pass this economic stimulus package. While most of the discussion is about the rebate checks that Iowans and Americans will be receiving, what seems to be absent from the discussion, but is a key part of that economic stimulus package, is the bonus depreciation schedule for businesses, to encourage businesses to invest and expand, particularly in capital equipment. Those are the kinds of things that really do provide a strong economic stimulus to help those businesses that perhaps were putting off an investment, a needed investment. The federal government, the Democrats and Republicans are coming together to acknowledge that that's important to keep our economy moving forward. I would hope, and I asked Leader McCarthy yesterday, I would hope that Iowa would couple our tax code with the feds to ensure that Iowa employers also receive the benefits of bonus depreciation. Failure to couple with the federal tax code means that Iowa employers would actually see a tax increase. So it's very important that as we move forward in this session and talk about the economic stimulus package, that we make a conscious decision to couple our tax code so that Iowa employers get the same benefits that their competitors in other states will from the bonus depreciation. Any questions about anything else that's going on? I know it's been a slow week in the House.
Has that always been true in the past? Have you always coupled?
There have been times where we have not. There have been times when we have. I think it's very important that we couple. Failure to couple means that Iowa employers will see an increase in their taxes. Failure to couple means that Iowa employers will have to keep two sets of books moving forward. I mean, failure to couple basically is a guaranteed word for all the CPAs in the state. And they may appreciate that, but it certainly will be problematic for folks moving forward. So I would hope, particularly given the fact that Governor Culver is out there advocating for an economic stimulus package, that we will remain true to that stimulus package here in Iowa and couple our tax code with the feds to make sure that Iowa employers see the benefits of bonus depreciation, have those dollars available to put into capital improvements, and that they don't pay a tax because Governor Culver and the Democrats failed to act.
Can you explain why the property tax, this is the one where they're sending money into the pool, right?
Well, you have to go back to, well, because when they take, the formula was created 10 years ago. This will be great. If you guys can actually write a paragraph on this, best of luck. Especially if you get on the radio. The formula that was created 10 years ago separates out taxation on generation and delivery and transmission in anticipation that someday, as we see now, generation lines are sold to independent companies. You have merchant plants for generation and other sort of power companies. That formula was created to make sure that local governments were held harmless and didn't see their taxes go up and down because a part of our power system was sold to an outside firm, outside of the state company. Well, now that we actually see it happening, the Democrats are changing that formula. I appreciate that there is a need for additional resources in the mental health risk pool. I think that that ought to be dealt with. But we should not take the property taxes that would otherwise go to the local governments in those counties and cities where Alliant is the service provider. We should not take the property taxes from those counties and cities and put in the risk pool. Doing so means that those citizens who live in those aligned service territories have to make up the difference some other way. There's a reason why that formula was put into place, so things like this didn't happen. Now that we actually have a transaction, Democrats want to change the plan. It sets a very bad precedent, particularly if we continue to see other transmission changes or other generation changes. Democrats are right to be concerned about the risk pool. Republicans are equally concerned about it. But it doesn't make sense to me that you're going to ask a property taxpayer in some small rural county in eastern Iowa to pay more property taxes because their tax dollars just went to fund a mental health program in Des Moines. It is a transfer from the Alliance Service Territory to fund, well, Des Moines is the largest need in that risk pool. I don't think those property taxpayers will be excited that they're paying more or their local governments are losing revenue so that the dollars can be shifted to Des Moines, Iowa.
Were you saying you see this bill as a vehicle for a full-blown property tax debate?
We believe that it is. It's a natural place to have that discussion. The Democrats build it as a property tax vehicle. It does impact property taxpayers. So, given here's our problem, right? We believe the Democrats are not going to come forward with a bill that actually addresses property taxes in the state. It's one of the issues that Republicans talked about in the fall. It's one of the issues that we brought in as part of our agenda. We're looking for any vehicle to have the debate on. This seems like a logical place to do it. That's why we'll be prepared to talk about it next week.
Can you talk a little bit more about the bonus depreciation? Maybe I don't know this well enough, but are there limits to this? Is it anything you buy over the course of the year? How does this work?
I'm sorry, I can't tell you exactly how the feds have it defined. We dealt with it a few years ago, but it is an encouragement to have additional depreciation on capital improvements, which is exactly what we want to see our manufacturers, our employers in this state doing. We want to see them reinvesting in their business. They get to depreciate that equipment they buy more quickly and in a larger amount. That's the kind of thing that we should also be doing here in Iowa. It will be very difficult on a manufacturer to keep one set of books and get a federal tax break or be able to depreciate that investment on their business products or on their machinery on their federal tax form and then have to pay an additional tax on their Iowa tax form. I mean, that's what we're talking about. Failure to couple means you get a tax break on your federal taxes and you get a tax increase on your Iowa taxes. That negates the whole idea of a federal stimulus package. It certainly puts you at a competitive disadvantage with your competitors in neighboring states. Therefore, we have to make sure that if the bonus depreciation schedule stays intact, and I believe that it will, that Iowa couples so that they have that same tax treatment on their Iowa tax form.
So whatever the
I guarantee you, every CPA and every small business owner in the state knows what their depreciation schedule looks like and will be very interested in following this as it moves through the process. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, so whatever the feds do, we would do the same
We
thing?
need to couple and do the exact same thing.
You're assuming that other states, when you talk about neighboring states, their track record is they will come.
They don't all, yes, I believe they will couple, but not all states treat income tax the way we do with federal deductibility. We have this additional hurdle that we have to deal with because if we don't couple because of federal deductibility, we'll be paying more in taxes. So we have to make sure that doesn't happen.
Were you talking about doing this next week? I mean, don't you have to wait?
I don't
to see
know.
what
Well,
happens?
I don't know if the Democrats will bring it up for a vote. But given the fact that the federal government is talking about it right now, it's part of the package that Governor Culver is lobbying for. I think the General Assembly needs to start figuring on it and make a decision. We need to make a decision soon because that's going to impact the rest of your budget planning. I mean, I would start preparing for that eventuality as I put my budget together. I hope the Democrats will be doing that now.
You talk about, I mean, they have to pay taxes on that federal depreciation if we don't couple. But will the state actually lose any revenue if we couple? I mean,
Sure, yeah.
So they need to be.
It will have a fiscal impact on the state of Iowa. Either way, we're either going to allow businesses, manufacturers to have that bonus depreciation to reinvest in the company just like the federal government is doing, which is a tax reduction.